Good evening. Welcome to a special Monday primetime emergency Cohn Zone featuring Lowell Cohn, Grant Cohn, your hosts. Just got back from Arizona, which is why we're doing a little bit later today. My dad had a deep cleaning at the dentist, so his mouth is hygienic. And now we need to talk about what the Niners did or didn't prove in Arizona. Football's a weird sport. In baseball or basketball, a team plays a game, then they play another one the next day. And if it's a verstunken game, you just move on. In football, you still got to talk about the verstunken game and the implications all week. And this one was a doozy. The Niners won. They beat the Cardinals. And wow, the takes, the conclusions that people have had because the Niners beat the Cardinals. Dad, what did the Niners actually prove in Arizona, and what didn't they?
Okay. What they proved yesterday by murdering the Cardinals is nothing. And I want to repeat, they proved nothing. That's the mature, prudent takeaway from the game. You can't put them down for winning because they won. On the other hand, you can't say, oh, this proves they're elite. This proves they're one of the best teams in the NFL. This proves they have a great quarterback because he came back and he was able to run the offense. All of that is noise.
Yeah.
All of that is as flimsy as cotton candy. They played one of the very worst teams in the league that played worse than they are. Iggy, they had 17 penalties. Those are unforced errors. They didn't have their starting running back. They didn't have their best wide receiver, and they didn't have their quarterback. And so all credit to the 49ers for winning, but they didn't prove anything. We didn't learn anything from that game that we can take away and project to say they're a playoff team, they're a Super Bowl team. All they did was get past the week.
Yeah, I mean, we could do that the week before when they played the Rams. That's a real test. And the Niners were really exposed in that game. Even though they didn't have their starting quarterback, Mac Jones wasn't the reason they lost. Their defense was the reason they lost. And their defense is going to be the reason they don't go far enough, don't win a Super Bowl this year unless something changes. And something could change, but it's not going to change by beating the Arizona Cardinals. And I just think maybe today we're going to talk a little bit about like the conversation around the team, because again, we didn't learn that much about the team in this game. And I think it's interesting, just football coverage, how people want to have a strong opinion. And it's hard to have a real strong opinion about the Niners after this particular game.
Yeah, and I understand. I'm not a fan. You're not a fan. Fans want to feel positive. We went down and we were on the road. We won. That's very good. And of course, it is very good. But it doesn't mean that much. It's a difference between being good, loss would have been bad, between being a good thing and being a significant thing. They're 7-4, good record. How good are they? It is still to be determined after 11 games how good they are. And we didn't learn anything based on yesterday about that. We didn't. And in fact, you could even say there are some things that you take away from this awful game that make you pause. Brissett, such a hard worker. So brave. I really admire him. But Iggy, he's a high-level backup quarterback. He's not really a starter. Iggy, he completed 47 passes yesterday. Now, you could say they were a lot of dink and dunk and all that. He completed 47 passes, and some of them are long passes. So it makes you think, what does that mean about the defense? The Niners defense couldn't get to Brissett. Kyler Murray is very elusive. I don't like his work, but he's very elusive. Brissett isn't. He's sort of a statue. He's tough. I really admire him. But you could sack him. The Niners, Iggy, did they sack him?
Not once.
No. I mean, that's troubling. I don't imagine that Arizona has a great offensive line, but they couldn't sack this guy who really isn't all that mobile. That's troubling. So I would that's one of my takeaways from the game, that sure they won, but I still am puzzled about the defense.
Yeah, it's funny. I think a lot of the major takeaways that I read and heard from this game were about the offense. Wow, boom, this really proves that the offense can be top 5 in the league. This really proves that Brock Purdy is head and shoulders better than Mac Jones. When really, to me, the only thing I really learned about the Niners in this game is that the defense is a bigger issue than I even realized. Like, Robert Saleh isn't gonna fix this, and all the best he can do on a week-to-week basis is to play soft zone coverage and to just beg the other team not to throw down the field and concede these short passes over and over and over again and hope that the other team longer to score than it takes the 49ers offense. That while you're scoring, 22 to 30 points, the Niners offense will score 35 quickly. That's the best they can do
Iggy, why is he playing soft zone coverage?
because he has no pass rush. He has
Explain it more.
absolutely no pass rush. So if he blitzes and they give up easy completions, they those can turn into big plays. And big plays flip the field like turnovers. And so I guess what he's trying to do right now is, here, why don't you just throw the 6-yard pass? Throw the 6-yard pass and make the guy catch it and make the guy get tackled and then huddle up again and then do a 10 to 15 play drive, take a lot of time. Our offense will score faster. That's basically the best the Niners can do right now because they didn't make a move at the trade deadline.
And you don't blame Salah for that. That's the
Nah.
best he can.
Yeah, I mean, against the Rams, he tried bringing a lot of pressure. It didn't work. So they even talked about it. We were really aggressive against the Rams. We got burned. We give up a lot of big plays. So all we're trying to do is not give up a lot of big plays and make them, work for it, is the way they put it, as opposed to, a 50-yard gain.
And that's sort of Vic Fangio's philosophy, isn't it, Iggy?
Yeah, bend but don't break, all that stuff. And it can work if your offense is scoring 40 and if, you're facing the Arizona Cardinals. It works. But we'll see if it works in a playoff game.
Right. If your schedule was 17 games against the Arizona Cardinals, you'd be really something.
Yeah, that's what we learned in this game.